Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Banter in the Box, episode 41. It is the final part in our annual Meet the Managers series, Know Your Enemy. And we've met the relegation strugglers, the also-rans, and the dark horses in the first three parts. And in this final part, we meet the title contenders, the top 8 managers in the Family Fantasy Football League, the favourites to lift the title in 2022. So this week we've got a first entry on the Wall of Shame. We'll be meeting those title contenders. I've got a manager of the season update, and seeing as you're all making such hard work of earning manager of the season points, I'm going to give you all an easy opportunity to earn a manager of the season point by running our first poll of the season, and you'll get a point just by taking part. So first of all, the first entry in this season's Wall of Shame, take a bow. Never the Boys manager, Jack Hoxby. A little warning to you all of the pitfalls of entering teams in the Family Fantasy Football League. It's not as easy as it looks. And Jack tried to enter a team this week, but it was invalid because he had 2 players from the same club that was not his nominated club. So there he is. Even though he's a graduate, he's got a degree, he was still not clever enough to enter a valid team into the season. But at least he went early, so he knows his team is invalid. He's got plenty of time to change it. There is no need to leave it until the last minute. You have until 9 p.m. on Thursday the 12th of August. But if you get a team in quickly, you can change it as many times as you want up until 9 p.m. on Thursday the 12th of August without any penalty. 15 managers have so far entered a team this season. So 17 managers, it would have been 16, but Jack's team was invalid. So 17 managers still need to enter their team. And our first manager that we meet this week, our first title contender, is Sashhammer's FC manager Wayne Plier-Taps Robinson. 20 previous seasons in the Family Fantasy Football League. Wayne is a veteran, ranked the 8th best manager in the league. He's one of only 4 managers to win the title 3 times in 2000, 2006 and 2007. Wayne was the last number 1 rated manager before he lost the title in 2003, and the number 1 rated manager in the Family Fantasy Football League hasn't changed since way back in 2003. So Wayne has won the title 3 times. He knows how to win the league. Hasn't done it for a while though, admittedly. He was the cup runner-up in 2017. Never won the cup, Mr. Robinson. He scored the most weekly wins in 2006, 2007 and 2011. And he's picked up 3 Manager of the Month awards. Now, why Plier-Taps? Well, because Wayne invented Plier-Taps. That's where he made his fortune. If you've never heard of them, Google them. They're a great addition to any home. He's starred in Banter in the Boxes for years and years and years. Those of you that have been in it a long time will remember that we revealed his red velvet smoking jacket that he likes to lounge around in. And Wayne's a bit of a romantic at heart as well. When he met his girlfriend Denise, I think that's her name anyway. He was delivering furniture to her house, and garden furniture, and he went above and beyond, as Wayne always does, and offered to put the garden furniture together for her, which wasn't part of his job. And so taken with Denise was Wayne that he went back with a Christmas card asking her on a date. That sounds romantic, until you realise that Wayne actually bought a job lot of Christmas cards and posted one through to all the ladies that he delivered to that week, hoping that one of them would buy it. But one of them did, and it is romantic of a sort. So there is our first manager we are meeting this week. Next up, Hatch United, managed by Neil Mounty Hatch. 21 seasons in the Family Fantasy Football League, another veteran. Neil had hair when the season started. Ranked the 7th best manager in the league. One of those four managers who have won 3 titles. He won it in 98, 2005 and 2018. Never won the cup. Sorry, runner-up in the league, 2001 and 2003. Never won the cup though. Runner-up in 2005. Neil holds the record for the most golden boots, including 4 consecutive golden boot titles in the early part of the century. 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, and in a big gap, and he reclaimed the golden boot in 2018. He had the most weekly wins in 2003 and 2005, and he scored the highest weekly total in 2015 and last season. And he has an impressive 5 Manager of the Month awards. Now, what can I tell you, especially those new managers to the league this season, about Neil? Well, some of you, probably not the real young managers in the league, but some of you may remember Blazing Squad. Neil was an original member of Blazing Squad. I think he left before they became really famous, albeit for a very short space of time, but he was in Blazing Squad. And he's Neil Mounty Hatch because Neil always wanted to be a Canadian Mountie, and his dream came true earlier on in the season. Would have came true last year but for COVID. But anyway, Neil now resides in Canada, where he rides around on a horse all day, which is fantastic. So that is Mr. Hatch, hoping to equal brother-in-law Steve's record of having 4 league titles. Next up, the first of 2 women in the top 8 managers in the league. 2 women, I know it's crazy. Poppy's Players, managed by Sarah MHC Simons. Just 2 previous seasons in the Family Fantasy Football League, but that's enough to rank Sarah the 6th best manager in the league. She was the FFFL Cup winner in 2020 and has had 2 Manager of the Month awards in a short space in the league. Her highest finish was in her debut season when she finished 6th. She was 9th last year. Now, controversial decision to rank Sarah so high, but 2 seasons in the league, never finished lower than 9th, and has won a cup, is a level of consistency that cannot be ignored. Why Sarah MHC Simons? Well, Sarah is an air stewardess for Virgin Airways, and Sarah not always, but Sarah decided she wanted to become an air stewardess because she really wanted to join the Mile High Club. Something that she achieved on her very first shift with a fellow steward by the name of Francisco. So there is Sarah Simons hoping to finish higher than 6th and justify her rating as one of the top 8 managers. Next, Legends 23, managed by Nikki Babs Saunders, the highest ranked woman in the Family Fantasy Football League. 5 previous seasons in the league, Nikki is ranked the 5th best manager. She got the most weekly wins in 2018, and she's had 3 Manager of the Month awards, but her best ever finish was 4th last season. So again, you're thinking, why is she ranked so highly? Well, it's because that in Nikki's 5 seasons in the league, she's finished in the top 8 on 4 occasions and has never finished lower than 14th. Nikki is pictured there with her all-important assistant manager, Keith, who I suspect is very much the brains behind the operation. Keith's a bit of an Iron Man, walked 150 miles, for the Brain Tumour Trust charity earlier on this year. And Nikki is Nikki Bab Saunders because Nikki owns a replica. Nikki is a nurse, but she owns a nurse's outfit that she wears to work. Yeah, not worth seeing. But Nikki does own a replica of the nurse's outfit that Barbara Windsor wore in Carry On Nursing. And Nikki has been promising to wear it for me for about 25 years, but as yet is yet to live up to that promise. But maybe this is the season. Nikki is hosting the Family Fantasy Football League at the end of the season. The first time Nikki has been a host. And Nikki is the inspiration behind the poll this week that I'll be revealing at the end of this video, which is your chance to all earn very easy Manager of the Season points. Next up, Mr. Family Fantasy Football League. Mark Workaholic Benwell is one of 5 managers who have competed in every single season of the Family Fantasy Football League. He's ranked the 4th best manager, and he was our first ever FFFL champion in 1996, and then he went on and followed it up by retaining his title in 97. That made him at that time the number 1 rated manager in the Family Fantasy Football League. He's one of only 3 managers to hold that title. Who knew in 1997 that it would be 25 years of hurt? But he hasn't won it since. He has come close though, runner-up in 1999, 2012 and again in 2013. He was a cup winner in 1997. He was the first manager to do the League and Cup double. And again in 2011. And he's been the runner-up in the Cup on 3 occasions, 1999, 2000 and 2012. So he has 4 trophies in the cabinet, close to being 10, which would have probably made him the number 1 rated manager in the league. He had the most weekly wins in 96, 02, 2011 and 2013. He scored the highest weekly total in 96, 2002, 2013 and 2019. And he's had 3 Manager of the Month awards. Mark was also the first ever Manager of the Season in 2020, though he lost his title last year to Joe Hoxby. Why is Mark Workaholic Benwell? Well, simply because he is a workaholic. He's desperate to retire, but his horrible wife Donna won't let him. And when he's not working every hour God sends, he's doing all of the chores, all of the cooking around the house, while wife Donna lounges around in her hammock. And Mark is a legend. He's been a legend, as you can see from the list of honours there, on the pitch. He's also been a legend of banter in the box, off the pitch. His rivalry with I've Got a Life manager Mops Hoxby goes back decades. It's very much a love-hate relationship. Mark has had his car dented at a previous FFFL presentation awards. I've Got a Life when she threw a bucket at his car. Outrageous. He's also been the subject of 3 campaigns, Save Mark, Don't Let Donna Win. The first one was a success when we wanted to get him a Jaguar, and we eventually did get him a Jaguar. The last one didn't go so well. Well, the last 2 actually. We tried to get Donna to let Mark to retire, but no one backed that campaign. And we also tried to get Mark a Bentley last year because he really wanted a Bentley, and none of you backed that campaign. But maybe you'll get behind and support Mark in our next campaign, because Lord knows he does need it. Next up, one of the new kids on the block, the Creed Bratton Society's Jordan the Mad Hatter Williams. 4 previous seasons in the Family Fantasy Football League, and it's been a 4-year period split in 2 halves. He's ranked the 3rd best manager in the league, which 1 or 2 may think, well, that's a bit high, given he's never won it. But he was the runner-up in 2019, and he was the cup winner in his very first season in 2018, and then became the first manager ever to retain the cup in 2019. He went very close to doing the double that year. He was the Golden Boot winner in 2019. He also got the most weekly wins that season. That was definitely his year. And he's had 4 Manager of the Month awards in his 4 previous seasons in the league. But the last 2 seasons, he's been potless in terms of prize money. But he does maintain a great level of consistency, which is why I'm ranking him as the 3rd best manager in the league. Though he's got a lot on his plate these days, he inexplicably decided to take on Mops Hoxby last year, which was a big mistake. And hopefully he's come to his senses this season. The Creed Bratton Society's Jordan the Mad Hatter Williams. Next up, Grease Lightning, managed by Alexi Mutamer Lagos. 9 previous seasons in the Family Fantasy Football League, and Alexi is rated the 2nd best manager in the league because he's had quite a lot of success. He's won the league in 2014 and then won his 2nd title last season. He was a league runner-up in 2015. He was an FFFL Cup runner-up last season, came very, very close to becoming the first manager to do the double in 10 seasons. He was a Golden Boot winner in 2016 and last season. He got the most weekly wins in 2016 and last season. He scored the highest weekly total in 2014, and he's had an impressive 5 Manager of the Month awards. Now, Alexi Lagos off the pitch. Well, we revealed a couple of seasons ago that he used to be a sock model. And there's pictures to prove it, which will no doubt appear at various points during the season. Alexi is living in Australia currently with long-term girlfriend Megan Hoxlade, Chamberlain manager Megan. And that's why he's the Moo Tamer, because Meggie Moo does need some taming, and Alexi has been able to do it. And he's been with Megan for 10 years. One of them, maybe both of them, have got commitment issues, despite the fact that when Megan first met Alexi and she came home to tell me that she'd met a boy, and I asked her what he looked like, Megan's description to me was, and I quote, "He's not classically good looking." I still can't believe how harsh that description was, because then I met Alexi and there he is. I mean, he's an Adonis man. But anyway, Alexi Lagos hoping to join the 3 times champion club this season by retaining the league title. Time will tell whether he can do it. Which brings us to our final manager in this series, and it's Arden Diamonds, managed by Steve Homer Holmes. The font needs to get really small now because the list of honours are as long as your arm. 21 previous seasons in the Family Fantasy Football League. Steve has been the number 1 rated manager since way back in 2003. He's the only manager to win the league title 4 times, in 2003, 2008, 2011 and 2020. He was the league runner-up in 2002, 2016 and last season. He's won the cup twice in 2007, 2013. He was the cup runner-up in 2008. They came very close to doing the double that year, something he's never achieved. He was the Golden Boot winner in 07, 2011 and 2013. He scored the most weekly wins in 2008, 2011, 2012 and 2015. He scored the highest weekly total in 2012 and 2018. And he was our first ever Silver Boot winner last season when he got the most assists. And he holds the record for Manager of the Month awards. Steve has received 9 awards in his 21 previous seasons. He holds the record for the biggest ever winning margin. From memory, I think it was about 143 points he won the league by back in 2003, I think. Andy Howe holds the record for the most top 3 finishes. He finished in the top 3 in the league on 10 occasions. Mr. Consistency lives for the Family Fantasy Football League, spends not only hours picking multiple teams before he decides which one he's going to settle on, but he spends hours every week, I'm told by brother-in-law Mark, hours a week studying the stats. That's what it takes to be a 4 times champion. Off the pitch, well, Stevie's most famous for having 8 kids. Let's see if I can remember their name. You've got, what are their names? Hugh, Drew, Barney McGrew, Cuthbert, Dibble, Grubb. James, his son, is in the league this season. That is Homer. Called Homer because of his incredible resemblance to Homer from The Simpsons. Steve is going to be expecting to win a 5th title this year. Came close to doing it last year. Well, I say close. Alexi won the league by a fair distance, but he was second. And if you finish above Steve Holmes, as the saying goes, you've probably won the league. Now, the manager of the season question, which has been running for a few weeks, including this coming season. How many different managers have competed in the Family Fantasy Football League since it started in 1995? Last week's clue was that the answer was more than 87. 4 managers had a guess this week. Lyndon's Lovely's manager Joe Hoxby thought the answer was 91. Mark Benwell thought the answer was 101. And Jack Hoxby and Neil Hatch thought the answer was 103. Well, I can tell you that none of those answers are correct. So it's rolling over for another week. But I'm going to give you another clue to help you out, because this is going to be worth 4 manager of the season points next week. So I will tell you that 103 is too many. There hasn't been as many as 103 managers in the Family Fantasy Football League. So that is your clue for this week. So the manager of the season table is still unchanged. Joe Hoxby, who got the very first manager of the season question right, is top of the table with 1 point. The only manager so far to register a point. Remember, you can earn manager of the season points by posting something funny or amusing on the Family Fantasy Football League Facebook group. That might get you a quote of the week. We haven't had a quote of the week yet this season. You can also send me funny or interesting information about another manager in the league for me to share in future Banter in the Box videos. And just let me know if you wish to remain an anonymous source, and I won't reveal you as being my source. But that could earn you manager of the season points. But I'm going to give you another opportunity to earn a manager of the season point this week. And it's a really easy opportunity. Mentioned earlier that Legends 23 manager Nicky Saunders is hosting the Family Fantasy Football League this year. And we have planned the date to be the 4th of June, which is around the time of the Queen's Jubilee. I think it's 75 years on the throne. I think that, I'm not a royalist, but I think that's what it is. Anyway, the government have given us an extra 2 bank holidays. So the 2nd of June and the 3rd of June is a bank holiday. So we'd penciled the 4th of June in. But Nikki had a thought. So she wants to put it to the vote. When would you prefer the Family Fantasy Football League Presentation Awards to take place? Now, you've only got 2 dates to choose from. Should we go with the 4th of June as planned? Or, just in case there's a lot of people planning to use that bank holiday as an excuse to take holiday, would you rather we have it on Saturday the 11th of June? So our ever gracious host this season is giving us a choice. And I'm going to give you all a manager of the season point if you vote. So just message me, WhatsApp me. I'll probably put the poll on the Facebook group as well. Which is your preference, Saturday the 4th of June or Saturday the 11th of June? Don't give me another date as a preference. They're the only two choices. And if you take part in that poll, you will earn a manager of the season point. And remember, for the manager of the season question, how many managers have competed in the league in the 27 years the Family Fantasy Football League has been running? You only get one guess per week, so don't go too early with your guess. We'll be back probably next weekend, and that will probably be the Family Fantasy Football League group stage draw of the Cup live is the next time we will be back. This is the end of our Meet the Manager series we run every year. You now have the lowdown on the enemy, your rivals in the league this year. Remember, 12th of August, Thursday, 9 p.m. That's the deadline for entering your team. If you do not have your team entered by 9 p.m, hard and fast cut-off, on the 12th of August, then you will start the season with the allocated club, which is on the weekly updates. You do not want to start the season with the allocated club. That's it for this week. Until then, take care. Bye-bye, everyone.